Okay, thanks. And look, this has been intense for everybody, so I understand 7 hours of this is difficult, but our job is to recognise that the people who are the biggest victims are the TV licence payer and indeed the other RTE staff who have been affected by this and who were required to take substantial pay cuts, and it's our job to ask these questions. So I just want to make that clear. And at the heart of this, it seems to me, is that publicly it was stated that everybody, including Ryan, were taking pay cuts at the time. And then we have discovered that there were these payments being made, right, which were kept secret and which RTE executives have acknowledged was an organised deception, and that they were mislabelled as consultancy fees, these payments, by somebody. Right now, Noel has said, well, it was nothing to do with us, that was under RTE instructions, which is a little bit difficult to credit. But the other bit of your narrative, and this is the bit I want to just concentrate on, it's following on from what Timmy said, is that the commercial arrangement and the pay reduction that was publicly stated as having happened were somehow two separate things. Now, can I just put it to you honestly, that doesn't look credible from the emails that are exchanged between Noel Kelly and the RTE during that early period in 2020. Because the first mention in the emails, now I haven't seen all the correspondence, but the first mention of the 75,000 from a commercial relationship is put forward by you, Noel. That's the first mention that I see. It also says in that very first email on January the 16th, terms and conditions of this underwritten and guaranteed by RTE. It goes on to say that the fees above would include the 120,000 owed to Ryan, and it also suggests there should be 4 less shows and a reduction in radio shows. In other words, the negotiating position that you were adopting on behalf of Ryan was linked to the overall pay cut, but then seemed to be insisting on things that would effectively mean that the pay cut wouldn't happen in real terms. Right? Isn't that a reasonable reading of what we're seeing here? And that in the negotiation then, basically there's a pushback from RTE over a lot of the conditions that you seem to be insisting on. And if I might just put this other bit, it also refers on the 19th of February to you saying as part of this negotiating process that we had a meeting with our client, which is Ryan, in the process of these negotiations. So that you were discussing the details, or at least according to your email to RTE, you were discussing the details of this back and forward of negotiations. So this is in the emails that you've provided us. Now, I haven't even had a chance to read them all, but that, on the face of it, that's what it looks like. Right, from here, and I'm trying to be genuinely objective, and I hear what you're saying, but that looks like you are pushing for everything to mitigate against the pay cut.
Do you want to?
Okay.
Is
So,
it okay?
page 5 of the relevant documents is from, again, the chief legal officer, the CFO, and point 4. Commercial sponsorship with third party facilitated by RTA. It wasn't started, or it wasn't. We didn't go looking for that or start it. That was completely facilitated by them. In relation to contract,
but
of course. Sorry, if I could just answer.
Okay,
in relation to contract, there's always back and forth. RT's job is to give and BBC and ITV is to give as little as possible to get the greatest return, to get the greatest commercial return, and it's all based on advertising and commercial revenue.
But no, I have to honestly say this. So the first mention in the email back and forward of a commercial arrangement is in your correspondence, where you set down the conditions of accepting the overall pay reduction. And then, in fact, it's clear from the responses from RTE that they only subsequently identified who that commercial entity might be.
So that email that you referenced, Deputy, was in response to point 4, commercial sponsorship with third party facilitated by RTA, page 5.4. So I was responding to that. So I had no emails originated. All along, it was an RTE and a Renault sponsorship, and they guard it jealously. You know, and of course you would. And commercial organisations, they mind their advertisers, they mind the sponsors, and that's what you have to do. You have to make sure that they come back again. So that's all that.
No, I'll be honest. From looking at this, it doesn't look that way, right? I've just been honest with you. Very last, just absolutely. On the tripartite agreement that, for October 2020 to 21, could you just explain why it wasn't signed by, I think it's Niamh McCormack, on behalf of Ryan Tubridy, until the 21st of the 4th, 2023? And last question, Joe, I have, because I won't get another chance. Ryan, do you think, on reflection, right, when you look at what's happened, the public feeling about this, do you think people would be justified in saying that the huge sort of gap between the pay that top presenters such as yourself get and what the production team at the back, which is a fraction of that, should be something that people fairly would look at and question the gap between those two things?
I would agree with...
Mr. Toby, can I just ask you to pause for a wee second, because I've a clerk that's meticulous about time beside me, and she's very conscious that we've run well over time. Right. So just before you respond, would you mind if I just asked Senator Murphy if he had a quick question or comment that he could come in with that, and then you could respond over to everyone.
This, as Ryan said earlier on, and so myself, I don't do interviews. It's not what I do. That's not my job. That's what Ryan does. That's what his job is, and the fantastic people that we work with as well, and the great teams. The last 2.5 weeks have been absolutely horrendous, and as you said, Deputy Murphy, on family, on my children, on my business, on my name. And I'm here, and we came here today to put everything that we had, and that's exactly what we put. As Ryan said when he left, everything that he had on the floor, we've put everything we've had into this. We have gone through everything. This intentional, unintentional, whatever. When the statement came out from RTÉ on the 22nd of June, and we asked them, and we had to get our lawyers to ask them. And this is why I kept on putting into correspondence, can you please inform us when you're sending out stuff? Can you please? And no. And it's David and Goliath. It's just, it's going into a vacuum. And hopefully that will, that will change. But what happened was we had half an hour's notice. We asked, could we see it? Eventually saw it, asked them would they put in the correction, and they didn't. And here's the interesting thing with being an agent. I'm the only person that the people we represent have. I am the shop steward. Where's the care? Where's the duty of care to Ryan over the last 3 weeks? Who reached out to see how he was? And his family. And this isn't a pity party. We're big boys. But it's been pretty horrendous, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody. And I thank you, because we believe in the House, and that's why we've come here, and we haven't talked to anybody, only yourselves. That's why we've come here. We believe in the House, and we believe in the process. And thank you for giving us the opportunity. It's really appreciated.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly. Mr. Tubridy, any final?
Yeah, very briefly, because my goodness, it's time to wrap, as they say. But thanks. Just in answer to your question, Deputy Boyd Barrett, about the salary situation. Yeah, of course, it's all changed now, isn't it? And rightly so. And if I do go back to RTE, which I hope to, it'll be a whole new world order. And that's why I said today, and I'd love to be part of that catharsis for the place, because it's a great old place, and that's why I offered today. I'd like to release, if I was to sign another contract, I'd put it out in the public straight away. No messing, no 3-year, carry on. I'd be part and parcel of the new process to build trust with my colleagues and the listeners. No viewers anymore, but listeners anyway. So that's what I'd say to you, that there's a lot of talk today about the talent in RTE. I hate being referred to as the talent. I think it's an obscene, outdated word. The talent in RTE, as you know, work in the reception, and they work in security, and in makeup, and hair, and sound, and camera, and production. That's the talent. They're the people who make the programmes you listen to driving into work every day, and the TV shows you watch at 6 o'clock and beyond, and nationwide, what have you. That's the talent. So if we do anything to change the language around RTE, please take that silly word off the contracts going forward. They're colleagues. No one's is better than anyone else. I'd like to thank you, Cathaoirleach, for your chairing of this, to the members for your robust but respectful questions and your time. And for the courtesy extended to us, I'd like to particularly thank the captain of the guard in Leinster House and his team, who were exceptionally decent and generous, and to the catering staff, who for some weird reason I always get on really well with. And you wouldn't think it to look at me, but I do. Thank you for everything, and to, as I say, to my family for their ongoing loyalty, and to the good people of Ireland who've been kind to me in the last 3 weeks. The kindness I'll never forget. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank my family as well.
Thank you, Mr. Kelly.
They've been incredible.
We appreciate you and your colleagues who have been here today. We do appreciate it's been a difficult day, but we do value the fact that you came forward of your own volition to both the Public Accounts Committee and to our committee to help us with our deliberations. Much appreciated.
Thank you.